Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Voltron Legendary Defender, which we'll be getting into today. I'm Justin Cummings, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And Hayley Neighbors.
Hello.
We are talking about episodes 3 and 4 of Voltron Legendary Defender Season 3, so The Hunted, and I believe it was The Hole in the Sky? I think that was the title. Not a great title, great episode. We're going to get into that soon enough. You can find out more about our podcast at overlyanimated.com, where we've been talking about Voltron, all 3 seasons so far of the new series. Also, if you want to go back, since this episode references the original Voltron series, we have a wonderful article that I wrote on the original Voltron that you can find on there as well, so go check us out. You can also find us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, or search for us on your favorite podcatcher, including Stitcher. So, before we dive into episodes 3 and 4, last episode we brought up that we have a very big discussion to have once Delaney was here, and that is on what we are now calling the Keith Lance ship. Here at Overly Animated, we used to use the term arm leg, as they were the arm and the leg, but that is no longer the case. So, Delaney, give us the official update.
Okay, so this is hard, because what if they move again? This is just, who could have predicted this? Like Power Rangers, you stay the same color, this stuff doesn't happen.
Have
Also,
you
it's
watched
weird,
old Power Rangers? No one
yeah.
stayed the same.
Well, I mean, Mighty Morphin, they all stayed the same, but, after that, it doesn't matter.
True.
It's different when you, become the Black Ranger, or the White Ranger, or dumb nonsense, but, okay. So, it's also still weirding me out, because, they'll be, wearing, Lance is still blue in the Red Lion, can we not do this? Why you gotta do this? It's confusing. So, now, we have the head and an arm. So, Lance just kind of, moved over a little bit. He went from being a leg up, but it's just weird.
So he got a leg up?
Yeah, there we go. Yep, literally. So, I don't, what are we gonna do? I mean, everyone else calls it Clance, but that's dumb, so. I was just sitting thinking, and headlock, maybe?
Oh, that's
I like
fun.
headlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot we can do here, because, armhead, sounds kind of weird.
It sounds weird. It sounds very weird.
Yeah, no, it's not, armhead, it's just not, it's arm leg was just it, and they just messed it up. And it could still be arm leg.
But wouldn't arm leg now be a ship
original.
of Lance and Allura, though, and we don't want that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not technically, because, there's 2 legs and 2 arms, bro. You can
True.
Oh,
so you ship Pigeon Hunk?
No, I'm just saying, theory, there's multiple ships, if you're gonna go based on that. But
This
I
show
guess
does
for
have a
now-
lot of ships. We saw some new ships.
Yes.
Flying in the sky.
Oh, God.
Test ships.
Okay. Well, I think my official verdict, at the moment, I reserve the right to be no, I thought of a better one, but right now it's headlock.
Alright, thank you for the official update. So, I figure we will go through episode 3 a bit faster, because 4 is clearly a superior episode.
Agreed.
And also Dylan tells me it's the best episode ever, so...
Oh.
Wow.
Of the show.
Claim.
Of this show.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Alright, so let's get into episode 3. I think we all kind of knew this was coming, a bit of that, oh no, we're out of sync, what do we do?
Yeah, it was kind of required.
Yeah, I called, we're just literally starting over. At least it went faster than, season 1, when it was oh my god, how long is this gonna take?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the beginning of this episode, I did not like the start of this episode at all. They're still attacking Lotor because Keith is all headstrong, and that's how he leads.
Keith is literally the most irritating person in this episode.
He really was.
He's so annoying. Oh my god, Keith. Bro, we thought we moved past you being really irritating. I liked him, and then he does all this stuff, and I'm also, I just watched episodes 1 and 2, today, so I'm not feeling Keith right now. Not feeling it.
Yeah. So it starts off really slow with I can't control red, it's too fast, blue won't listen to me, we can't form Voltron. I didn't
wine.
like any of that until they got to the planet. That was when I started liking this episode. So yeah, before we get there, we got the official confirmation Nartine is blind. So that's a woo. That's a woo.
I didn't even think about it. I was just like, she wargs into her cat.
Would people stop saying warg? Not everyone watches Game of Thrones.
It's a good term. It's a good term.
Also,
for
warg
it.
isn't just Game of Thrones. It's a thing. They just spell it wrong in Game of Thrones because that's what they do in Game of Thrones. Is they misspell words.
Okay, I'm not gonna get to it. Okay, so Nartine is officially blind. So yeah, Delaney, what are your thoughts on Lotor?
Okay, so Lotor's really cool. I don't know. They're playing him up, he's the really hot, prince dude or
so
whatever. I'm just he seems cool. I'm really more interested in his little squad. His squad's really cool. That's why I like him right now, is because his squad's neat. I think he's definitely way more interesting than Zircon. I'm really enjoying this, kind of pirate prince. I do my own thing. I'm clearly a bad guy, but I'm kind of cool kind of deal. I don't know. He's interesting. The way, again, I just watched the first 2 episodes, so the way he played up the crowd, and then also was no, I'm evil. But it's interesting. I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, we talked last time about how Lotor's very, very awesome, and especially his squad. We were calling them the generals. I prefer the squad.
I like that
squad.
too.
The squad.
Good.
All right, so
yeah, that's what I said, because that's what I thought, because that they're the generals, because he was that one comment. It was he fights with his generals like a private or whatever. Okay, but yeah, squad. It's a squad.
So we go to this planet where everything gets messed up, and I feel like we've had this trope before in this show of we have to rely on each other. Am I wrong in thinking that we've seen this kind of thing before?
Well, it's kind of when they separate them all.
Yeah.
Except really concentrated, and obviously instead of it being they're spread all over the universe, it's a lot faster. Because they're just separated in this little planet. I feel like this, I don't know, this kind of happens whenever they go to a new planet in general.
It seems to, yeah.
They
it's a good
should
archetype.
Stop going to new planets, and everything will be okay.
Well, I don't know. This new planet looks really cool. I really like the design of this planet. It's really funky. I didn't like that. I know Pidge is super smart. My child, I love Pidge. Pidge is super genius. But because we go straight from oh my God, Lotor being oh, the magnetic poles and the blah 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 are gonna mess them up, and I'm gonna lure them to you. And then literally go to Pidge, and Pidge is oh, it must be because of the magnetic poles. And I love you, Pidge, but that was stupid.
Yeah, Pidge almost seemed too smart in this episode.
Well, they just had Pidge parroting, which, isn't, I know Pidge is smart, but, and, to be fair, assuming that, weird magnetic poles, that does make sense, but I think it's just the way they cut to it.
Yeah, it was too immediate.
I expect that from Power Rangers, not from this.
Right, it's
and I say that in a loving way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they could have spent a bit more time on them figuring out, what was happening to the lens, because it seemed like that was a big problem, and it didn't, really seem to be that much of a problem, because as long as they stayed close to each other, they could communicate, which, I don't know, I thought that was odd.
No, it was all really weird, and, I don't know, the entire beginning of them, going in. And then, granted, it looked really cool, when their, lights came on. That's really neat. I like that.
Yeah,
but
that was cool.
It's just, I don't know, it's just really awkward. And everything just feels really, I understand it's because, they've shaken the team up. Ooh. But everything just feels really clunky and awkward. Though it does get better. When Allura, goes, she figures stuff out, it gets really awesome after that. But it's just really clunky and weird.
Yeah, I feel like this was an episode that they kind of felt that they had to do in terms of storytelling, where they needed to have an episode where they figured stuff out and got into sync and everything, and they needed an episode where we could have that classic beginning not really important fight between the big bad and the heroes to kind of set things up later on. And this episode just became that, I guess. It's kind of a means to an end. We needed to get this over with, and then we can get into the important stuff. So I think that's probably why it felt a little odd at times and a little slow.
But it also feels like they were shoehorning in a Laura character building, and not that that's bad.
Yeah.
We needed a Laura character building. I would have rather they drop the team building entirely and just focus on Laura in this episode.
Agreed.
Because it feels
totally.
like the first half feels like we need to become a better team, while the back half feels like, Laura needs to become a better paladin. And so it just makes for a really odd paced episode, and I think Laura went a little Deus Ex Machina at the end. We can talk about that a little more.
Yeah, I need to discuss what happened there.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Very confused.
But
yeah.
I think the first time I really started liking this episode was when Keith started talking about how it's not about the team, it's about the mission. And I thought just that, like, experimenting with, like, this is a different leadership style. This is how Keith thinks. This is how he leads. Like, this is not Shiro. And I think that's, we kind of got that with, this is how I lead. We're going to chase Lotor. But this is the first time we actually got to see his philosophy in leading, not just his brash actions.
Well, I think when I really was like, no, this is really good, was when Keith finally is like, I messed up, guys. Like,
sad
talking
Keith
to
is
Lance.
sad.
Yes.
That is my note I made on that one.
Yep, Keith is sad. Sad
so
Keith.
sad. So sad.
What did
to me, that was good, because that was like kind of like a character building moment for Keith, because he's just so irritating.
What did you all think of Hunk's catchphrases, his taglines? The tables have turned, the script has flipped, the hunters have become the hunted.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, I mean, I thought it was like funny. Because, it was what sealed it for me was when Lance was like yelling taglines isn't helping anything. Like, I appreciated him being called out immediately. Mm-hmm. That's what made it better for me, was that I was like, okay, this is good. Like, yell at him about this.
But now we know why it's called the hunted. We would not have picked up on that symbolism at all if Hunk didn't scream at us.
Never would we have ever figured that out.
Yeah, I like that imagery too of when I think it was Lance was it Lance? Yeah, it was coming up, or it was Pidge coming up or something, and you saw like from his perspective in the lion looking out at another lion. I thought that looked funny. You don't really see that too often, like just how big they are.
Well, that was the thing. It was this episode's really weird and clunky and kind of uncomfortable, but all of the visuals are great, and kind of, we're not used to seeing all the lions close together when they're not Voltron. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of, and like the scenes of them, trying to stay together and just seeing scenery in the fog, and like when they all almost crashed into that rock face, that was a really good sequence.
I think my favorite visual was just the fighter weaving between the lions. Because we often forget how big these lions are. And that visual was just like, oh, they are being defeated by this tiny little speck.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was neat, how his ship with the wings, how they would spin around like crazy.
Right, no, that was cool.
That was a cool design. Yeah, it's a very interesting visually, I guess, animation-wise episode, which is nice.
It's very striking, and this is kind of another reminder, this is Korra in space, y'all. And I think my actual favorite visual of the whole episode is when they're all back to back, like they're making their little circle, right before he starts leaving.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is what I'm about. Because I love Voltron, but I also love when the lions just do stuff, because the lions are super cool. Mm-hmm. And that just looked really great. It was them all being back to back.
So let's get into Allura, because she's probably the most interesting part of this episode. First off, her trying to flirt with the lion was
so great. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
As I wrote in my note immediately after sad Keith is sad, awkward Allura is awkward.
Very
it was so
awkward.
Good.
My particle barrier is turned on. I couldn't.
That was so good.
I can't bash your logic though. It makes sense for her to think that way.
It works for Lance. Why wouldn't it work for Allura?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I just we had to have that moment, and I kind of glad they went that way instead of. I feel like it could have been weirder. When as soon as she said, "What would Lance do?" You knew that was coming. So granted, I liked it that way. They could have taken that a bunch of little weird directions, but I thought this was funny and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I was very glad that. And then I'm starting to get weirded out by the lions just a little bit with that.
Okay.
Because Allura was talking and she's like, okay, being kind to you doesn't work, commanding you doesn't work. the lions only seem to respond when people completely emotionally break.
I know, I was gonna say that. Like, why do they not have any sympathy or like, oh, okay, that guy's bad, I'm gonna help them because that guy's bad? No, they need to like have a full-on emotional breakdown, revealing all their feelings to this lion, and then they're like, oh, okay, now you've proven yourself.
Like, only completely broken like, the lion breaks people and then reforms them in its own image.
It really does.
And it's kind of creeping me out a little bit. And I'm wondering if the black lion has, like, a darker will, and that's why Zarkon went bad?
Maybe. I don't know.
And now that's happened to Shiro? Like, I'm starting to wonder if the black lion is the issue here. But I'm creeped out by the lions after that. Like, I don't want to be a paladin. I don't. I'd rather be a Power Ranger.
I think I'd still rather be a paladin.
Well, fine. You know you're gonna be a lion. I don't know what I'm gonna be. I could be a dinosaur. I could be just a big person.
A big person.
I could be a beetle. I could be anything. You're a lion, no matter what. So I hope you like lions. I hope you like lions.
Lions are cool. It's fine.
I can settle for that.
I might be a lion. I don't know. So we definitely. So Allura, she completely breaks, and the blue lion accepts her sacrifice of her human spirit.
Yep.
Or Altean spirit, rather, and it immediately works, even though its sensors should be completely offline.
Yeah, like what?
Well, I still think I think we've established the lions aren't just robots.
Yeah, but why didn't
why would
the
its
other
machinery?
ones do it?
But
well, I don't think it's. I mean, I feel like it's more. She connected to her lion. Also, if you remember, Allura's like super magical. Like, she has legit magical powers. And actually, I do think this is in all seriousness. We'll get into this more talking about the next episode. You know, we haven't explored it as much as we probably should have at this point, but Voltron is made of quintessence. Or at least has some form of extreme manipulation over quintessence. We know the lions have quintessence. And we know Allura can manipulate quintessence. Like, that's what her kind of magical ability is, you know, when she fights the witch and all that. Like, she can manipulate quintessence, which is how she finds out that Hagar's Altean. So, I think it makes sense that Allura, I mean, granted, of course, this was more of like Allura connecting to her lion and they need to go. But Allura does have manipulation over quintessence, unlike the other paladins. And if the lion, like, is kind of made of quintessence, has a lot more quintessence, it would kind of make sense that they can do this. Also, it doesn't really look like all of the sensors come back on. It's just what the lion's able, like, it's kind of like the lion's special ability. Right. Like, she can only see stuff because they do the sonic stuff, which is why it's only the blue lion and her, because, like, the other lions can't do that.
Yeah, right. I explained it to myself with the quintessence too, because my thought was, it was like, at first I was like, oh, she connected, awesome, scanners are back, but then I was like, wait, aren't Pidge and Hunk, like, pretty connected to theirs too? So, like, do they need to have an emotional breakdown also to get this to work? Like, yeah, so it probably is, like, a bigger magical quintessence explanation thing, I would imagine.
And also, like, I do think it is also, like, tied to the blue lion, like, this special ability of the blue lion. It can do the sonic, like, stuff, and that's why they could go through that. They were using echolocation or whatever, sonar. Yeah. And, like, only the blue lion can do that. None of the other lions can do that. And it didn't look like all the sensors came back on. It was just that special ability.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I'm wondering, guys, what happened when she, like, blew a hole through the rock? What was going on there?
He attacked her.
He attacked her? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Oh, are we talking about the same moment? Yeah, no, he laser beamed her through the thing.
Okay, good, because I watched it and I was like, what just happened? Like, did she connect so strongly she blew a hole in the rock or something? But,
that's really weird. Like, that was so weird, but no, he, like, laser beamed through it.
Okay, phew. Okay, that makes way more sense to me then. Good.
Yeah, that was what that early dramatic, like, looking at him scene was.
Yeah, exactly.
They got her.
So, out of 10, what would you guys give this episode?
I don't know.
An 8?
Now, is that on the just, normal person scale, or is that the objective Dylan scale of quality?
I can't do the objective Dylan scale because it's, like, nonsense. For me, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to, like, okay, in terms of Voltron, I would say this episode is an 8.
Okay, that's fair.
In terms of, like, in comparison to all the other shows we'd watch, this episode's maybe a 6.5, maybe a 7.
Alright. Hayley, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm thinking, like, I feel like if I have to do the whole episode together, it might be, like, a 7, and then I'd give the first half a 6, and the last half an 8.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Because I feel like the first half I was very much like, okay, like, what is happening? Not much. And then once we got to the interesting planet, then it was okay.
Alright, so let's talk about the good episode now. Wow, this was a good episode. So, Hole in the Sky. I got an email about this, actually the day we recorded episode 1. So, I guess Dylan immediately binged the rest of the show. So I will quickly read Dylan's hot take.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Episode 4 is really good and by far the best episode this show has done. It achieves a level of narrative sophistication this writing crew is obviously capable of, but hasn't gotten into in any of the previous episodes. It's morally complex, continuing the great work in that area of Lotor, has by far the best use of the original series, even if I could have done without the constant callbacks here. This was like a really good episode of Doctor Who, and I'm so impressed. My argument, it doesn't have that many callbacks to the original series. It just has, like, one big one that doesn't go away.
Right, like, it's just, like, that one.
It's just Sven, and, like, I apologize for my notes on this episode. It's just me ranting. I typed Sven in all caps with about 10 N's, because I'm a nerd. I've seen parts of the original show. Actually, I'll take this moment to mention it. On Netflix now, they have... It's only 12 episodes of the original series, but each one has an intro from someone who works on the new one, be it an actor or a producer or a storyboarder, explaining why they picked that episode. So it's like 12 curated episodes. And honestly, if you want spoilers of the big potential plot points, there you go. But, yeah, so I went back and I watched, and in the original show, at the beginning, very beginning, you had Hunk, Pidge, who was a dude, Lance was the Black Paladin, Keith was the Red, and this guy Sven was the Blue. So the moment... Yeah, Sven was... I don't know if he was killed off or what happened to poor Sven, but Allura took his place. Shiro's an original character for Legendary Defender.
No, that's why everyone was like, Shiro's gonna die, because, like...
Because Sven died.
Yeah.
Yep. But, no, so, yeah, so as soon as they're like, it's Shiro, and I hear like a Swedish accent, I just start screaming, Sven! Cause I'm like, my baby! My forgotten Swedish or Scandinavian baby! So I was very hype on this episode. What are your general thoughts on this episode, Delaney, before we get into the specifics?
I mean, I don't really get, like, the hype. Maybe I need to watch it again? I mean, okay, one, I understood the callbacks. Like, I got that. I mean, I really like this episode, like, alternate realities, like, I'm all about that stuff. Like, yeah. This episode, I guess, just didn't land for me. Like, I feel like, to me, it was really interesting, but it was like we kind of touched a concept, but we didn't hold it long enough, or, like, we didn't grasp it, and that bothered me. And, like, yeah, we kind of explored this morality thing, but I don't feel like we explored it enough, because, so, what really bothers me is they call, like, what they do to people non-cogs, which obviously means, like, they don't have, like a lack of cognition, like, non-cognitive, like, they don't have, like, no cognitive thought. And it just kind of bothered me that they just kind of throw that out there and we don't really, like, talk about it. Like, we're like, oh, you take their free will away, but we don't kind of, like, we go over this, but we don't really establish the fact that they literally lobotomize people and don't, like, they take their minds away. It's not just they don't have free will, like, they literally just remove everything from them that makes them them.
I think for me, I'm okay with them not getting so much into the morality of this, because I don't think this episode was about that. Like, this isn't like an episode of like Doctor Who.
Well, this is more of a response to what Dylan said. Like, I don't think this is like some supreme example of morality. Like, I'm glad they had this interesting concept because they don't usually touch on this stuff in the show in this kind of manner. Like, we're going to talk
about it.
Like, they just don't have a lot of like gray. I don't know. Like, to me, like there haven't been a lot of like real morality moments in this show. Like, we had the very iffy, not well handled stuff with Laura last season. Yeah. But like, it was just, I don't know. I feel like they threw a lot at this episode. We have Allura talking to Alteans for the first time. Like, she hasn't seen another Altean other than Karan, and kind of like she was so close to being able to be with other Alteans, and then just, I don't know. It just kind of falls apart for me. Like, we just have too many elements kind of going on. There wasn't a lot of time for stuff to breathe. Like, I really liked the episode. I do think it was a really good episode. I'm not so sure I'd say this is the best one yet for me for this season.
I agree.
But, like, I liked it. It was fine. I'm more interested in, like, the transdimensional space rock. Like, I'm more interested in that. But
I think I
really... Oh, sorry, go on.
Go for it, Hayley.
Oh, thanks. I agree with you, Delaney. I really wish this was 2 episodes, because I feel like there was so much stuff that was happening, and then the episode ended, and I didn't feel completely satisfied with everything that we got into, because I wanted to learn more about, I love all these, like, alternative universe storylines, and I wanted to learn more about that, and what was happening, and, like, these kind of morally complex Alteans and everything. And then there's also the whole other thing with the comet, which I'm sure is going to lead on to other stuff later on. But yeah, I liked it, and I loved all the ideas and all the stuff that happened, but I wanted more and more like breathing room between all these different topics that were happening.
I think the point of the episode, and this is just my interpretation, I mean, y'all are completely valid, but I think part of why I'm okay with them not going into the morality as much is I think what they wanted to do was give to something that's very, very obviously not okay. Like, forcibly lobotomizing an entire universe is not okay. And I think they wanted to take that and then show that to Princess Allura and have her basically question, you know, this is her race, this is her people, yet they're doing something that no one basically would agree is okay. And so to then... It's basically, I think the reason that they didn't go into it so deep is they wanted to focus more on Allura's reaction. To the concept that there might be a bad Altean. Or that Alteans aren't perfect.
They didn't focus on it. Like, that whole, like, sequence, like, I was expecting, like, I was kind of dreading it a little bit, this kind of, like, battle. Like, I was kind of expecting more tension between the Paladins and Allura because we have Pidge, Hunk, and Lance, like, learning from Sven and Slav that this is bad, like, this isn't good, and then going to Allura and Keith, and them kind of, it's very classic, you get one side, you get the other. And I was kind of expecting more tension there, like, more Allura kind of, like, pulling, so, like, it's not even, even then, to me, the episode fails in properly creating this tension and this kind of, like, this isn't really a conflict for Allura. Like, it doesn't last very long. This versus the whole season long, grappling with Keith being Gulrin and, like, her issue with the Gulrin.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing.
I think really my end, like, feeling on this episode is going to be based on what comes next, because I hope that this, like, all the themes that came up with this carry on and it's not just a one-off episode. Because I think if that is the case and there's more time spent on all these things and she's like, oh, maybe we could do that and, like, that maybe that's how we win and everything, I don't know, that would kind of validate this episode more for me.
Are you talking about the Altean, like, kind of thinking, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that we finally see Alteans in the flesh, like, more like their society as opposed to in flashes and just on the ship. Mm-hmm. And it's this. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see more of that. I'm not too confident that we're going to see more. I would love to. It was kind of nice at the end of the episode. We did get Allura sitting down and, like, kind of the debrief with Keith. But I'm not really sure how much more we're gonna get. I don't know, there was just so much going on this episode. Like, all of it was great. I just feel like if if the episode was longer, or if they just had a little bit more time with each thing.
Yeah, I want to learn more about what this comet's all about, and like why the king was trying to get it and everything. I think that's gonna be really interesting.
Oh, no, I think we're gonna learn a lot more about that, because
we've gotta.
Like, clearly there's more history to it too.
Yeah.
I wish someone would have thought before of using a comet as a big plot device. I mean, it seems just so wonderful. Like, why hasn't anyone done this before? Just
it's almost as if all of the people on the show, like, it's really weird. Like, all of the writers, everything, like, it's almost as if they did this exact same thing before.
Maybe worked on a show where a comet was important before? Is that what you're saying, Delaney?
Yeah. I mean, I can't quite...
Lotor's Comet.
Yeah, Lotor's Comet, right?
Like, yeah,
That's what it's called? Yeah.
Right.
No, it's not, but it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
You know he's gonna call it that.
Do you think they're gonna, like, not be able to, like, use quintessence? Do you think maybe the Lions will just, like, stop working?
We're gonna reach the day of Black Hole Sun, where we're gonna invade the...
That's what the hole in the sky is, right there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we are less than 2 weeks away now from the day of Black Sun. Is everyone ready for the invasion?
That's when my classes start, but we'll see.
The lady just show up in full Water Tribe battle armor.
Ready to go.
I'll just be like, sure, let's go.
I couldn't show up to class today. Had to defend the Water Tribe.
Priorities.
Of course, the show goes back to Avatar, because that's what we do here. I wasn't even on from the spirit world. Look what y'all people have done to me.
Also, literally the entire crew of the show worked on Korra and Avatar, so
Space Korra!
It is Space Korra.
It really is Space Korra.
I am just waiting for, like, some reference, like they pass a meteor, and they're like, I want to make a bracelet out of that. Or just some, like, the one space element we got of Avatar.
I'm waiting for there to be, like, a planet they go to, and, like, they're dressed like the Fire Nation or something ridiculous.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I want some reference. It doesn't have to be a big one, just some reference to Avatar.
Oh, no, I think I can... So, I'm famous for my Harry Potter and Avatar comparison podcasts. Dylan,
you really
get
are.
ready for the Voltron and Avatar, like, Galra and Fire Nation, man. I could do, like, I get Sam, we're gonna do, like, art. Oh, man.
So is Altea the air nomads?
Potentially.
Yeah,
they got a lot going on. They're kind of like water, too. Like, they got a lot going on there.
But they're almost extinct.
True. I mean, we can't just do a comparison based on, like, one aspect. Like...
Yes, we can. It's called Tumblr.
Well,
and I'm kidding. Tumblr's deeper. I'm kidding. Sometimes. I think my favorite part of this whole episode, though, is when the generals are talking and one of them goes alternate dimension and she gets immediately corrected.
You know, that was great. Also, she's my favorite.
Oh, yes, she is Ty Lee, and
she's
she is my baby, and I love her, and... Yes.
Like, her hair or whatever's going on is, like, really neat.
Like, I don't know if it's hair or, like, just more of her head or something.
Like, I don't know if it's because she's, like, she's like a Twi'lek. Like, I don't know if that's what
Which I love Twi'leks. Yeah, I don't know who's my bigger crush, her or Lotor. I can't decide.
I mean, it could be both. Like, it could be equal.
We'll see who's alive at the end of the season and reassess.
Okay, that works.
Right. Guys, we're over halfway through the season. Like...
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. And I know Dylan would be the first one to be like, well, technically, production order, we're at the beginning of season 2. But no, we are, practically speaking, for the sake of viewing purposes, we are over halfway through the 3rd season of Voltron.
And it's like, what is the... Well, the thing is, like, the way they split it, is there actually an endgame here? Like, are we going to really have a finale?
So...
I don't know.
So, this is not a spoiler. I read just episode titles. It's not a spoiler. It seems very mid-season finale. Like,
okay.
It reminds me, it feels like it definitely feels like this was originally going to be released as another 13 episodes, and they split it up. Like,
okay.
It just looks very mid-season. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but just if you watch a lot of TV, you'll get the feeling I'm getting. But, yeah, so
like
we only
something
have...
big-ish, but can be resolved before the next big finale kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Definitely, if you're a Korra fan, you'll get the mid-season feeling off of this. But, yeah. So, I like that we get into the morality stuff. We don't talk about it too much, but, like, I wrote down, oh boy, quality of life discussions. Because it's like, are they even alive anymore? Or are they just puppets? Like...
Yeah, they're just there. They're just,
pretty much.
And then, so...
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can. I was gonna move on, but yeah, you can keep talking about it if you're talking about the puppetry and the people.
No, I was just gonna be like, no, it's bad, blah blah blah. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's totally fine. Like, no, like the Altaeans are in the wrong in this. Like, this is not okay. Like, I really want to see now Allura be like, well, we should try this, and everyone else be like, no,
maybe not.
Although...
I mean, Allura immediately was like, why you like this? So, I mean, that's not gonna happen. At least, I mean, Allura, like, she good.
Alternate Universe Slav was wonderful, though. Like, that just made this episode for me. Was the return of Slav, but not quite.
That's, okay, wait, I figured it out. This is why it's Dylan's favorite episode, just because Slav is in there. He just made up all that other stuff because Slav is there.
Slav is finally right. That's really what it is.
Yes.
And just, I think my favorite was, Slav, is this possible? Well, there's a 75.95 if this is da-da-da. Stop talking. Just, that moment was so pure.
I just love that Sven, like, when he first met them, all the paladins, the reason he kind of first started to believe them was because of their shared frustration with Slav. He was like, yeah, no, that's definitely him, then we're good.
I was like, alright, they know Slav, it's fine.
Yeah. Also, they're the guns of Gamara.
This is a blade of Malmora.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
wow.
Delaney, I don't know if you ever saw the Justice League show. This was Justice Lords. In 20 minutes. Like, they go to the alternate universe where everything's flipped, and the good guys are the bad
the villains,
guys.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like, this was Justice Lords. Or Crime Syndicate. Like, this is like the ultimate alternate universe trope, is the good guys are bad and the bad guys are good. Like, it's the ultimate... Actually, in this case, it was just the good guys are bad and the other goodish guys are good too? Because, like, Slav's already a good guy, and did he die in Season 2? I can't remember. Is Slav alive in our universe?
We just don't know where he is?
I don't remember.
I want to see them talk to him and be like, yes, there was a 72% chance that you met me in an alternate universe in the past 1100 cycles, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, did you tell me hi? I want a callback to that at some point. So, all in all, I like this episode. I think I liked it more than you two did, but I also get really hype on alternate realities, even bad ones.
That's
and,
fair.
like, badly
I have
ones.
standards.
Oh, you have standards. What's your favorite Elseworld then? Like, what's your favorite alternate reality?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm holding you to it.
I don't have one, like, off the top of my head. I just mean, like, okay, to standards, it'd be like how Rick and Morty does it versus this.
Okay. I feel it. Okay, but is every alternate universe in Rick and Morty that good?
Well, it's more like execution. I don't know. Like,
okay.
There's just a lot in this episode, and there's little bits and pieces that just rub me the wrong way. I do think it's a good episode. Like, I did enjoy it, and it was definitely interesting. Like, I mean, I just got hyped that there was an alternate reality, and then, like, we go into it, and, like, visually it's a very stunning episode, like the glowy quintessence portal. And then we have, like, this cool comet thing.
We saw Sven. I'm really happy. So, like, I'm satisfied with this episode.
There's something for everybody.
It definitely is. Yeah, I liked it. I definitely liked it. Because, again, like, alternate universes are always a good time. But I'm excited to see what comes out of this episode, more than anything.
Well, I would like to say that I definitely, like, I really love, like, this is already better, I think, than potentially the majority, if not all of Season 1, just to being to this point in season, like, right now in Season 3.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then the majority of Season 2. Like, I'm really, like, it was almost a chore to watch Season 1 and Season 2. Like, when we would do, like, well, me and Dylan marathon, like, all of it all at once, watching Season 1, so it was indeed a chore. And then we did it more like this for season 2, and, you know, it was just like, oh, I gotta watch, like, 2 episodes, and I just, like, sit there. But no, I was, like, really enjoying, like, these 4 episodes, and I'm really happy where we are right now in the show. Like, we're kind of hitting the stride, I think. Like, it's not, so far, I don't think we've had a truly bad episode. Like, I know we didn't really like episode 3 as much, but I don't think that was, like, a bad episode. I just think it was a little slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I like that this season we're definitely getting into more, like, hard-hitting plot movement situations and things. And also getting all these awesome new characters, like Lotor and his squad and everything, too, is definitely helping. So
yeah, I think
agree.
that's, like, a big part. Like, I think it's them, really. Like, Lotor keeps everything moving. And we kind of don't really know what's going on. Like, we've shaken things up so much that we don't really know what's coming next.
Yeah. I assume that he's going to take the comet and, like, make something to defeat Voltron. That's
like a little, like,
Voltron.
Robot.
Dark Voltron!
Yeah.
Dark, oh god,
Dark
no.
Voltron,
We already did that. I'm done.
Psycho Voltron!
Lord.
Oh, whoa, what if the squad is very intentional and it was Voltron and each of the squad members were a part of it?
No, don't say that. Why did you say that?
Are you?
Ugh.
And
no.
it's the
The fact
Psycho
that you
Rangers!
just gasped at yourself was, like, the worst. Oh my god.
Yes!
Oh, I'm kind of down for it, though, because I love those characters so much.
I mean, I loved them too, but no.
Yeah. Oh, they would
No.
literally be Dark Voltron. Oh, no.
I'm not okay with that.
Darktron!
Like, I do wonder, are we going to talk more about, like, this whole, like, are we going to do more alternate realities? I mean, this felt like a more one-off thing, but like, we have a trans-dimensional rock. Like, how is this...
It's a possibility.
Like, yeah, I guess. I just want to, like, talk... It was just, they introduced this concept, and it's like, we can't just leave that alone.
There are 2 other Voltrons. The original Voltron series was just like Robotech, adapted from 3 animes. The third one never actually got dubbed, but there are toys and such of Gladiator Voltron. But there's also Vehicle Force Voltron. The one we know is just the Lion Force Voltron. So there are 2 other full, straight-up Voltrons they can pull from without having to create a new one. And whether we see those Voltrons in an alternate reality, or as Darktron, I don't care. Like, give me the other Voltrons. Just, I want that reference. We have the material. Do it.
We'll see.
Right. Maybe.
So, I think that just about does it for us. Do you girls have any final thoughts?
No.
You all?
I'm just really happy with the season so far, and Lotor's cool. And
so cool.
Okay, I just wanted to say, I obviously wasn't on, like, the last podcast, but my child, Alora, finally, like, this is all I wanted from this season, is delivered. That's all I talked about when we were doing, like, our season 3, like, wish list and, like, predictions. Like, this is all I wanted was Alora to be a paladin. So, like, I don't, like, they were really gonna have to do something to, like, make me really mad. So, like, right now I am very happy Alora's a paladin. We had, like, an Alora episode. Alora's being really cool, and she's the blue lion. Like, I'm having a good time. Like, I'm happy.
Dreams do come true.
They do. Like, I was getting so irritated. Like, when she couldn't, like, I mean, I knew the black lion wasn't, like, I knew that was going to happen. And then the red lion rejected her. I'm like, I'm getting irritated. But then, when the shield was around the blue lion, I was like, oh my god, it's happening. So that was my, like, spin moment. That was me screaming. So I'm happy. Like, I'm pleased.
And then I'm sitting here like, well, she became the blue paladin last time, so if I had to guess, which is, honestly, if you haven't seen the old show at this point, don't. Like, wait till Legendary Defender's done, then go back and watch it, because whatever you see in the old show will probably just be an inferior version of whatever happens this season.
True.
So, like,
and there might be sneaky spoilers, like unintentional spoilers, too.
Like, you will find out things that you don't want to know, and then they will be done so much better in Legendary Defender that you will rather have seen them that way. Like, I like the old show, but we're taking so much from it that at this point, hold off until the new one's over. Or at least till we're past. Yeah, or just watch
this one.
Just watch this one. But I mean, but it's fun to go back and see the original sometimes. You gotta admit.
So I want to check out those episodes you were talking about, like the curated ones.
I want to watch those.
Yeah,
those are really good.
Yeah, but after.
Alright, yeah. So that does it for us. You can find all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks as always to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Catron, aka Patron Catron. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Andy. Coming up, we'll have more Rick and Morty coverage. We will have more Voltron coverage in just a couple of days. I'm hosting the next episode, and then Dylan will be back for the finale. And I think that's about it that's coming up for now. So, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye! Bye!